Good day, and you are welcome to this virtual hub, which is dedicated to e-learning on chemistry secondary school practicals, and it's accessible on the evirtuallab.com, the internet, which you can log in even through that website and be able to carry out various types of experiments as we have them in the senior secondary school syllabus. In today's demonstration, we'll be talking on one of the experiments called back titration. Once you enter into the website and you type the URL and put in necessary login details, you'll be able to access back titration. And you click on that, the left-hand side of the app. You click on back titration. From there, you see different icons on the left and the right-hand side. At the center is where we demonstrate the experiment. First thing to do is to enter the laboratory environment by clicking on Enter Laboratory. Once you click on Enter Laboratory, it takes us to run the first experiment. And you click the first run experiment. And from the run experiment, you have the lab table, which gives you some preliminary values, like the pipette volume that we are using, the acid weight that was used to be dissolved into the acid, then the total acid volume that we'll be using to dissolve the salt. So below it, you have the red button where you can look for the instruction. Click on the instruction where the steps to follow step by step that we can use to pick the icons, so that it is so much easier. Aside this, you can also go to the lab manual, download the lab manual from the app environment, where you see you can go to the back titration section and you see step by step you can procedure to follow along with the equations for calculation as we go on. So the first thing to do is to click on the burette mounted. When we click on it, we bring the icon to the table and we can see that the burette is there already mounted. The next thing is we need to bring the acid bottle to the table. So we click on the acid bottle to the left and you bring it to and you see that the acid is being poured into the beaker. After that, we go for the salt. We need to pour the salt into the acid in the beaker. So we click on the salt and bring it to the environment of the lab, and we'll see that the salt will be poured into the beaker. After pouring into the beaker, we need to stir. So you click on the stirrer. Clicking on the stirrer, you bring it to the lab table. It's stirred properly. After the stirring, we now need to pour the acid and the salt that already been prepared into the burette. So we need to go for the funnel. Click on the funnel and bring it to the lab environment. After that, we now pour already mixed acid salt solution into the burette. So we click on beaker acid, bring it to the lab environment, and it's being poured through the funnel into the burette. After that step, after the beaker acid, we click on the pipette and bring it to the lab environment. And we'll pipette certain volume into the conical flask. Then we now use and go for the pH indicator, pour it there. So we are ready now for the titration. Since the conical flask has been brought to the table, click on titration, and we are set for the titration now. So to start the titration, we click on start, and carefully notice when the color changes, and you click on stop when that is noticed, the color changes noticed. Okay. For experiment run, the burette volume is 2.009 centimeter cube. So we now go for the second run and the third run. In this second run, we don't need to follow the initial processes or steps. We just click on run experiment 2 and we go to the titration straight. So we click on the button start. The titration starts for us. And carefully notice when the color changes. So a little bit very late in closing it. Well, the same, we have experiment run 2, we have 2.054 cm cube. So we go to the third run, clicking on run experiment 3 and clicking on start. So we click on now show result. We've been able to get the 3 titer values. We find an average. So the third titer value is 2.009. 2.009. So we need to find an average of the 3. The first one is 2.009. Second one 2.054. The third one is 2.009. So we need to find the average. So 5 things to insert in the spaces. First is the initial acid molarity, base molarity, acid molarity, and salt mass. So all the 4 aside the average titer volume that we will get here, we need to get these 4 from the manual because the formulas have been presented in the manual. To calculate the initial acid molarity, base molarity, the acid molarity, and the salt mass, which is what we want to get. So we just take time to calculate these 4 or 5 different values. Then we need to insert them and now compare with the computer generated or what is expected of us, how accurate these values will be or how accurate our titrations have been. Our own calculation from here, the initial acid molarity was calculated to be 1.64. Then the base molarity was calculated to be 0.1. Average titer volume was calculated to be 2.04. Acid molarity was calculated to be 1.235. Then we calculated the salt mass now to be 0.835. So from these values now that we have calculated, let us now compare them with what the computer has calculated for us. We click on Submit and Print Report. So we have the result displayed in this manner. The analysis from the result will see that the expectation is that the initial acid molarity should be 1.622 and the student got 1.640. When we look at the percent error, it's so little. Then if you go to the base molarity, what is expected is 0.100 and the student also got 0.100. That is, the percent error is nil. Then if you go further, we had 3 rounds. In getting the average, the student obtained 2.040 and the actual that is expected of the student is 2.024 with a percent error of 1%. Then the acid molarity of the student was expected to be 1.244 and the student obtained 1.235. So the percentage error is very, very low. The area of concern is the wrong input by the student, which was 0.835 for the salt mass, which was actually supposed to be 8 point something, but the student inserted a wrong value and the error was large. So there is the need that the student must be very careful in entering the correct value. Thank you for listening.